There are certain greetings that seem small on the surface, but once you start paying attention, you realize they actually say a lot about how someone feels about you. And if I can gently refine that for you, I'd say this. There are moments so brief, so easy to overlook that they slip right past most people. But hidden inside them are the clearest emotional signals you'll ever receive. So in this video, I'm going to take you deeper than you've probably ever gone before and show you how something as simple as a hello can quietly reveal attraction, curiosity, comfort, and sometimes even longing. Because the truth is, what people say matters, but how they say it, that's where the real story lives. My name is Mary Smith, and here on the Mindful Senior Living channel, we explore the emotional intelligence behind human connection in a way that feels grounded, honest, and deeply human. And today, I want you to lean in a little closer, because this isn't just about reading signs. This is about understanding people, understanding energy, and most importantly, understanding the subtle ways someone may already be reaching toward you without ever saying the words directly. And let me ask you something, just between us for a moment. Have you ever walked away from a simple interaction, replaying it in your mind, wondering why it felt different? Not dramatic, not obvious, just different. Maybe it was the way she said your name, or how her eyes lingered just a second longer than usual. You couldn't quite explain it, but something in you felt it. That quiet curiosity, that little spark of, was that something? Or am I imagining it? If you've ever felt that, then you're exactly where you need to be right now. Because what we're about to explore isn't about guessing or overthinking. It's about noticing patterns, understanding behavior, and learning to trust what you observe without jumping to conclusions. And if at any point in this conversation you find yourself thinking, yes, I've seen that before, I want you to drop a comment and share your experience. Not only does it help this channel grow, but it also creates a space where others realize they're not alone in what they've felt. Now let's begin with something incredibly subtle, but incredibly revealing. The voice switch greeting. You might have noticed it before without really labeling it. That moment when she says hi, and something about her voice feels different. Softer, maybe slightly higher, almost like there's a warmth wrapped around her tone. That isn't there when she speaks to others. And here's the fascinating part. It's rarely intentional. This isn't a performance. It's a reflex. In psychology, vocal tone shifts are often tied to emotional arousal and interest. When someone feels drawn to another person, their nervous system responds in ways they don't consciously control. The voice softens, becomes more melodic, sometimes even more careful, as if the body itself is trying to create a safe, inviting connection. Imagine this. You're standing in a group, maybe at a social gathering or even just a casual setting. You hear her speaking normally to others, relaxed, consistent, but then she turns to you and suddenly there's a shift. Not dramatic, not exaggerated, just noticeable if you're paying attention. That contrast is everything. I once worked with a client who told me he never believed in signals. He thought everything had to be direct, spoken clearly. But one day, he mentioned a coworker whose voice always changed when she spoke to him. At first, he dismissed it, but over time, he realized it only happened with him. That awareness changed everything. And that's the key here. It's not about one moment, it's about consistency. Now, let's move into something you've almost certainly seen before, the quick fix greeting. This one happens fast, so fast in fact that if you blink, you might miss it. She sees you, and in that split second before saying hello, there's a small adjustment. Maybe she smooths her hair, straightens her posture, or adjusts her clothing. It's almost automatic. Psychologists refer to this as impression management. When this happens subconsciously, it carries even more weight. Her brain registered your presence before her conscious mind even caught up. There's an internal signal. I want to gently remind you, this doesn't mean you should rush into conclusions. But you begin to see the difference between polite behavior and emotionally influenced behavior. Now here's something I'd love for you to try. The next time you're in a social setting, don't focus on what people say right away. Watch what happens before they speak. Those micro moments often reveal far more than words ever could. And if you're finding this helpful so far, take a second to like the video. It really helps the channel. Now let's continue. Because this next one shifts us into something even more intentional, the priority greeting. This is where choice comes into play. Picture this scenario. She walks into a room filled with people, friends, colleagues, familiar faces, but instead of blending into the group, she looks for you. And not only does she look for you, she comes to you first. That decision, that subtle prioritization, carries immense emotional weight. You occupy a meaningful space in her mind. I remember speaking with a woman once who admitted she didn't even realize she was doing this. She said, "Every time I walk into a room, I automatically look for him first." When I asked her why, she paused, smiled, and said, "Because seeing him makes me feel settled." That's the emotional layer. It's about comfort and grounding. Patterns tell the truth. We're going to go even deeper, exploring signs that are almost impossible to fake once you understand the psychology behind them. Stay present with this idea. That connection is rarely loud in the beginning. It's quiet, nuanced, and often hidden in plain sight. Now imagine this moment. You're walking somewhere, maybe she's already passed you, already moving in the opposite direction, and then suddenly, she turns back. This is the spin back greeting. She could have kept walking. But something in her said, "Wait, I don't want to miss this." That interruption of her own momentum is incredibly telling. It involves real effort. Human behavior is driven by efficiency. We don't usually double back unless there's a reason. When interest or curiosity is present, people make space for interaction. Now let's deepen this even further with something that feels almost invisible, yet incredibly powerful. The eye contact lock-in. Most people make brief, polite eye contact, but this is different. When someone is genuinely interested, the gaze lingers, not in an intense or uncomfortable way, but in a soft, present, almost curious way. Everything else fades slightly into the background. There's a stillness in that moment, a quiet connection that doesn't need explanation. Psychologists call this a micro-connection, a brief but meaningful exchange building familiarity. People don't hold eye contact like that with everyone. It requires comfort. It requires openness. Often, it reflects a desire to stay in that moment just a little longer. It stays with you. There's something deeply human about the way emotion begins to overflow. Now, we're stepping into a space where feelings become harder to contain, where energy becomes much more alive. And it often begins with something as simple as a single word, "Hey." But the kind that carries emotion before thought has time to filter it. Brighter, fuller, arrived before she had a chance to compose herself. You'll recognize it instantly. Immediate lift in energy, more expressive voice, a natural smile, maybe a soft laugh that slips out. It's not rehearsed, it's a reaction. Reactions come from emotion. In psychological terms, this is emotional activation. The brain releases bursts of dopamine, the pleasure and reward chemical. You're not just being greeted in that moment, you're being felt. One of my viewers shared a story about a woman who lit up every time she saw him. At first, he thought it was just friendliness, but over time, the repeated behavior told a different story. Now let's take this a step deeper, into something that becomes even more personal. The touch that accompanies a greeting. Touch is powerful, one of the most direct forms of human communication. I'm referring to the playful, light contact that happens naturally. A small tap on the arm, a gentle nudge. It's not invasive. It's easy, almost instinctive. It crosses a boundary, just slightly. In psychology, this is affiliative touch behavior. It signals comfort, trust, and connection without words. When someone feels safe and emotionally open around you, they initiate these interactions. Think of your own experiences. There are rare individuals where the boundary softens, where interaction feels more relaxed. Context matters. Notice the smile and the energy around the touch. Now let's shift to the digital world. Connection doesn't stop when people are apart. In many ways, it becomes even more revealing through digital greetings. Imagine you receive a message. It's a simple "hey," and before you even have time to respond, another message follows. "What are you doing?" This is the double message greeting. It reflects anticipation. In psychology, this is anticipatory engagement. Instead of waiting passively, she follows up quickly. It says, I don't just want to reach out, I want a response. I want connection. I want this interaction to continue. I once spoke to a woman who admitted she often double texted someone she liked. She laughed and said, I tell myself to wait, but then I just send another message. It was emotional investment. I want to pause and bring this back to you. You might be recognizing patterns from your own life. Stay curious, not certain. Awareness changes how you show up and respond. Subscribe to the channel. Now, we're going to go even further beneath the surface. Beyond these signals, there's an entire layer of emotional meaning. What comes next might completely change how you interpret everyday moments. Awareness doesn't add anything new to your life. It simply reveals what was already there. Attraction, especially mature, emotionally aware attraction, is rarely loud. It unfolds quietly through patterns. Most people look for one big, clear signal, but human behavior doesn't work that way. Instead, you get layers, signals that create a very clear picture together. They are expressions of internal states. People invest energy where they feel emotional return. If a woman consistently shows these greeting patterns, something about your presence creates a positive internal experience for her. Pause and take that in. It's not about what you're saying, it's about how she feels when she's around you. Your role is incredibly important. You can either overreact or underreact. Both break the flow of connection. I want you to respond with awareness, not assumption. Acknowledge the energy, mirror it gently, and allow it to grow at its own pace. Let me give you a real-life example of David in his early 60s. Instead of rushing in or pulling away, David stayed present. When she greeted him warmly, he responded warmly. He held eye contact just long enough. Slowly, naturally, the connection deepened. No pressure. Context is everything. Instead of asking, did she do this? Ask, does she do this consistently with me and differently with others? That alone will give you more clarity than anything else. Observe her baseline. The next time you interact, observe 3 things: her baseline with others, her shift when interacting with you, and the consistency of that shift. Don't analyze in the moment. Just observe. Reflect later. Timing plays a crucial role. Later in life, people carry experiences and hesitations. Their signals may be more subtle and measured. That makes them more genuine. It's intentional, even if quiet. Patience is strength. Not passive waiting, but active presence. You're engaged and aware, but not forcing outcomes. You're allowing connection to reveal itself. Now think of someone in your life whose behavior feels different. How have you been responding? Open? Closed? Distant? Connection is a two-way experience. Sometimes signals are waiting for a response from you. Many opportunities are lost because there was no recognition. I want you to become someone who sees clearly and creates space for connection. Like and share if this resonates. Now we move into how to build trust, emotional safety, and long-term connection. Everything changes. Applied awareness is what actually changes your experience. Connection isn't built in grand gestures. It's built in repeated, meaningful moments that feel natural. Match energy. Don't overpower it. Emotional pacing matters. Think of it like a conversation between 2 rhythms. If one moves too fast or slow, the harmony breaks. A woman once told me she felt comfortable with a man who met her exactly where she was. That balance is rare and powerful. Responding well is about presence. Be there, not distracted or halfway engaged. Presence is the most attractive quality you can offer. Meet that eye contact. Deepen that warm tone by receiving it. Acknowledgement matters. Sometimes the most powerful response is simply letting someone feel seen. A genuine smile or holding a moment longer creates a lingering impact. Instead of reacting automatically, pause internally for just a second. Respond with intention. Calculation comes from trying to get a result. Intention comes from being aligned with the moment. People can feel that difference. Now let's talk about emotional safety. Attraction brings them closer, but safety allows them to stay. When she expresses interest through subtle signals, she's testing the space, asking, is it safe to show a little more here? If you rush or ignore, safety never forms. But stay grounded, and something shifts. She opens. Don't just look for signs. Become someone worth showing interest to. I mean, in a grounded, authentic way. Work on your presence, listening, and emotional awareness. Attraction is also about what you create in the interaction. A gentleman once spent years trying to figure out signals with no progress. When he shifted his focus to being present and genuinely interested in the person in front of him, everything changed. The signals didn't just become clearer, they became stronger. Connection is not a one-sided observation, it's a shared experience. As we close, I leave you with this. The next time someone greets you, don't rush past it. Slow down. Notice the tone, eye contact, and effort. Appreciate it. Sometimes the beginning of something meaningful doesn't arrive with a grand declaration. It arrives with a simple hello that feels just a little different. Thank you for spending this time with me. Subscribe to Mindful Senior Living. Let me know in the comments. Which of these signs have you experienced? Your story might help someone else. As always, stay present, stay aware, and stay open to the quiet ways connection finds its way into your life.